Hey, good evening to you. I hope you're doing great. I have some breaking news to share with you. One of the things I committed to was I committed my life to sharing the truth, and because I'm a kingdom man and a kingdom builder, I think we've got to deal with truth. And tonight, today, right now, I've got to share with you some facts about this last killing at the hands of the Capitol Police. And I am devastated. I am overwhelmed. And all I can see is a picture of my sons, a picture of, you know, your sons. All I can see that this could be any one of our children. And we must demand answers. I do not know all of the facts concerning the entire case, but I do know that a young man is dead. And the young man has a name, and our state did not even think enough. Our Capitol Police, our Mississippi Bureau of Investigations did not even think enough to mention he's dead, and he's been dead since Monday at 12:30. So I've known this, and I spoke with the mother, and her son has been dead since 12:30, but all they have released is that there was another officer involved shooting. Well, this time it's not going to be just another officer involved shooting. Factually, we know the Capitol Police have been responsible, we know factually, for 3 shootings, more like 4 or 5 that have come in, but factually on paper that were reported. And I want to share with you that Jalen Lewis, a graduate of Callaway High School, a young man that lived in this community, he was shot on Sunday night and he died Monday at 12:30. We don't know the facts. We don't know why he was even stopped in the first place. According to eyewitness, no lights were turned on until after he was shot. His name was Jalen Lewis. He was a 25-year-old young man. Not a perfect young man, but he's a 25-year-old man with his whole life to live. And he was shot in the head by the Capitol Police. And it has come to my attention that there are other instances where the others, and not all of them, but there is at least one of the others that was shot in the head by the Capitol Police. And when you shoot in the head, that is a kill shot, meaning that you meant to kill them. And nobody's saying anything. I need you to share. I need you to share this with as many people as you can, because Darian Bird, you have sons. I have sons. And the Capitol Police has very recklessly, as if they've had open season on boys and people in this capital city. And they've opened up open season. and they have killed a young man, and our state police agency does not even think enough of the family. Nobody's called the mother. Nobody has offered any facts, but simply because they killed and took the life of another black boy. And for them, that doesn't mean anything. Time and time again, we see white officers from other communities unable to de-escalate situations involving people of color and resort to using lethal force when it is not justified, time and time again. These officers that work for this flex unit, these particular officers that their pictures were taken at the scene after the killing, after the shooting. They come from other communities and they don't know how to deal with our community. That young man was a friend of my son too, Miss Beatrice. My son is devastated. I'm devastated. And then how can there be transparency and trust in a system that will not even acknowledge a life was lost? They haven't even acknowledged that he's dead. They have not even released the names of the officers that were involved in the shooting. I don't know all the facts. I acknowledge that right now, but do they not value a black life enough to mention the fact that he passed away? The officers have been identified, but it hasn't been shared. They know who was involved. We have pictures of who was involved. But there's been no report from MBI. There's been no report. And why is it they're able to de-escalate situations in white communities but cannot do it in black communities? Answer me why this young man was shot in the head. The two officers, their names are Officer Stevens and Officer Walt, that work for the Flex Unit. Those are the names and identifications that were given to me. How people are afraid. People that have cameras and doorbell cameras and all kinds of things are afraid. Our young boys and girls should not be afraid to ride in their cars. They should not be afraid to go through any part of Jackson. Their parents should not have to be telling them, stay out of downtown, stay away from this capital CCID, whatever this district is. Listen to me, this is tragic. This is tragic. And I'm saying to this community, we cannot sit back and allow this to happen without demanding answers. We want our governor, who ultimately is over these state agencies. We want the head of the Capital City Police Department. We want the head of the Department of Public Safety. We want answers. We want your answers. We want truth. We want transparency. We don't want some made up truth. Why is it taking so long? And why did you not even think enough of this family to even mention that their loved one was dead? They shot in the car. There was also another person in the car. I will not mention her name. She was in the car. So they indiscriminately shot in the car while somebody else was in the car. What were you stopping him for? We should not have to live in fear. My children and my grandchildren should not have to live in fear. My sons, their friends, should not have to live in fear. They should not be weeping. But this capital city police department, there needs to be some accountability and some transparency. And if you hire officers from outside of this community, if they don't know how to work with this community, they don't know how to de-escalate a situation, they come in from Rankin and Madison counties and they take the life of our young boys like they're going hunting. This is not hunting. You should see what they had on. They were dressed like they were going to war. I need this community to get outraged. I'm not talking about dealing with things the wrong way. I'm telling you that we need to be outraged about what's happening. And we got to stand for something. And I'm so tired of people saying, Pastor, you just need to stick to preaching the word. If we don't stand, who gonna stand? If those of us that love God are not gonna stand for our boys and our girls and our children, this unit has killed again. They have not even mentioned the fact that they shot someone, the wrong person, the person they wasn't even looking for. They barely mentioned that they had a high-speed chase where it ended with the driver hitting a pole and dying. We don't need your kind of cleaning up this city. We don't need the kind of cleaning up. And we want transparency, and we want to sit down with the governor. We want to sit down and we want to watch the body cameras that this flex unit is supposed to be wearing. We got to stand. At this point, I'm calling out every pastor, white and black, every community leader, white, black, and Hispanic. We got to stand together. And we got to deal with stuff that really matters. We cannot allow this kind of thing to go on in our community and we sit back silent. I'm calling on our media to do investigation instead of sitting back silent. I had to tell some of the media members, I had to tell them that the young man was dead. They didn't know he was dead. We cannot take this any longer. Somebody asked me, aren't you afraid what they might try to do to you? I'm more afraid of what God will do if, as a shepherd in this city, and a city that has given me so much, if I don't stand for those that can't stand for themselves, if I don't be a voice for the voiceless. I want them to know, and I want to be very specific, I want the state government I want the Capital City Police. I want the Department of Public Safety, MBI. I want you to know that we will not stand by and allow these officers that you have brought in here from outside of our community, pay them all this money, put them in outfits as if they're going to war to destroy the lives of our children. That young lady that was in that car had to experience for the rest of her life, she got to live with the act of violence. She said it was senseless. She said it made no sense to her. She said it had no lights on, Pastor Pickett. She said they just began shooting. She should not have to live with that for the rest of her life. And then you don't value the life of Jalen Lewis. That's why he had a name. You don't value his life enough that you even tell the community he's dead. And you don't mention the officers involved in the officer-involved shooting. Our city has a 48-hour requirement that the officers will be identified, whether it's a justified shooting or not. We have a 48-hour requirement that the officers will be identified, whether it's a justified shooting or not, regardless of whether it's justified or not. Well, you're serving in Jackson, you're working in Jackson State of Mississippi, and we need to understand why you did not report that the young man died on Monday at 12:30. And his name is Jalen Lewis, and you did not report an Officer Stevens and an Officer Walt that was reported to me. And I double-checked it with the pictures and everything. It cannot be another day that you get to treat us this way. It will never be another day. Not under my watch. Not under my watch. Not under our watch. There are some people that are devastated. There are some people that are angry. And there are some good people in this city. And you will not be able to come in here and wipe our children out and wipe our families out indiscriminately without giving us any answers. You're going to give us some answers. We demanding answers. We're demanding answers. And if you don't have no answers for us, if you don't sit down with us, then we're going to release the pictures of the officers involved in the shooting. We're going to release the video that we have. I need everybody in our community to understand this. This could have been your son. This could have been your brother. It could have been your daughter in that car. It could have been your husband. It could have been your pastor. We are dealing with a group of police officers, and I have supported police officers for 30 years, and I will continue to support good officers. But we're going to have accountability. We're going to have accountability. We're going to demand accountability. Jalen Lewis is sat right there in that chair. My sons and their friends are weeping. We're not going to let you take us out like that. And I want them to know we're going to stand for what's right. And we're going to fight this to the end. And this family has one of the greatest lawyers, I believe, in this country. Yeah. You don't have to know who it is right now, but you're going to know because we coming with everything we got because we will not allow you to do this to us and go silent as if it's okay. Listen, I need you to share this information. I need you to post this. I need you to stand with us. It's not just me. There's so many others. We're standing. I want you to pray much, but we will not allow this to take place. Hey, there's so many things going on. Sometimes I have to smile to keep from crying. Right now, I'm crying. Right now, my heart is broken. Right now, the progress I thought we had made, Governor Reeves, progress I thought we had made, law enforcement and state law enforcement. This flex unit needs to be made up of more African Americans and people that know how to deal with this community. Not people that will not try to de-escalate the situation. There are too many kill shots. Shots to the head. Something wrong with that. Something wrong with that. So listen, I know we got a lot going on in Jackson, Mississippi. I know we got stuff going on with water. I know we got things going on with all the issues we have going on. But this deserves our attention. We're going to get the names of the other people that they have shot, the names of the people that they've been on high-speed chases and one ended in death. We're going to get those names. And we're not going to stop until we know what really happened with everybody, because their record to have shot at least 3 officer-involved shooting in barely a month, 4 or 5 even after that, there needs to be accountability and transparency. So thank you so much for joining me. I had to get this out. I had to share this with you. I had to make sure we had all the facts and everything. We need our community. We got to rally together. Pastors, community activists, leaders, we got to rally together. We got to pray for this family, because this was somebody's son. This was somebody's son. This was a father's son. This was a mother's son. 3 sisters, their brother's dead. And a host of friends. Their friend is dead. Nobody should ever have to go through that. Nobody should ever have to go through that. I've dealt with it, and you never forget it. I never forget it. And the fact that this happened at the hands of police officers, of a young man that his entire community knows, they know him not to be violent. So whatever story you come up with, boy, it better be backed up with some good footage. Because I'm telling you, they're not going to buy it. What you've done to this young man in this community on these occasions will not be accepted. So we're fighting forward. We're going to fight together. I'll be back later tonight to let you know when our rally and press conference is going to be, dealing with this capital city police department that is indiscriminate, taking the lives of our kids. God bless. Peace.